folks, my name is Santi and today I'm bringing to you a top 10 about the games I'm more excited to see at Essen. As you may know, in 2 weeks it's the Essen Spiel fair, a convention in Germany where some gamers from Germany and Europe and other parts of the world gather in order to play some games and try new games that are coming out. So I decided to bring you my 10 games, my top 10 games I want to see and try at Essen. So I'm bringing to you some games that I decided to keep out of this top 10. Those games that I have heard from before the Essen announcement. For example, there's going to be really good games that were not announced just for Essen, but from before. For example, I don't know, Viral or Rising Sun. Those are going to be really excellent and good games, and they're going to have a really sounded hit in Essen, but I decided not to include them in this video because, well, they're not like officially Essen or exclusively Essen games. So I decided to not include those games that I had heard from before. So let's take a look at them, and let's start with number 10.
Number 10.
My number 10 is going to be Pocket Mars. Pocket Mars is a small game that takes around 15 minutes in which you're trying to expand and settle on Mars. It's a short game, it takes almost 15-20 minutes, but it's kind of a filler, but it's a heavyweight filler, for a filler of course. So something I like about this game is the theme. I like that it's a short game about Mars and exploring space and that stuff, because all the games I know about exploring Mars and the galaxy and all that stuff are really heavy games and are really big and long games. So I appreciate that there's one that is smaller, although it is a game that puts you to think really, because they say it's a game in which you have to think your strategy very well, because in this game you have different cards that you can play in different ways. It's kind of an area control game with cards. It's kind of cool, and the production looks really cool to me. You have basically the cards and the cubes. It's quite interesting. It caught my attention, so that's the reason it's going to be my number 10.
Number 9.
My number 9 is called Nomads. What really caught my attention about Nomads is the theme, because in this game you're trying to move around a campfire in which a storytelling is happening in order to reconstruct different stories or legends. I think it's a really cool theme, and the mechanic is like a Mancala mechanic in which you're picking a pile of tokens and you're dropping them one by one. So it's basically a set collection game in which you're trying to take the different parts of the stories and the legends and build them up again. It also has a player power variance, so depending on which character you choose, you're going to have different abilities that might influence how you pick those token piles and how you place them along the board. So I think it's a really cool game that caught my attention, and that I'm really trying to check it out to see if it's as good as it looks like, because it really sounded interesting to me. And the art is really gorgeous. The legends, or the part of the stories that you're trying to take back, are cards with different drawings that describe what happens in that story, and the art is amazing. It's just phenomenal. So that's my number 9, Nomads. I'm really looking forward to see if this game is as good as it looks like.
Number 8.
My number 8 is called Bunny Kingdom. Bunny Kingdom is a game in which you're trying to take control of the area and influence it in order to construct new cities and gather different resources like water or mushrooms in order to grow carrots, because what you're trying to do is to expand your colony of bunnies. Yeah. It sounds foolish, but it looks really cool. It has a card drafting mechanic in this game, and you're trying to control and influence different areas and building new cities and upgrading those cities. It looks really cool. The component quality is incredible. You have each player has this little bunnies with those castles or cities. It really looks quite good. The mechanics seem to be really nice and be really neat, and it looks like the design is pretty cool and streamlined, and it's an easy game but with a lot of things to take into account. I think it's a game that deserves my attention, and I'm willing to try it at Essen. So that's my number 8, Bunny Kingdom.
Number 7.
My number 7 is a game in which you're trying to prove that you're the best pizza chef there is in your restaurant. It's called Pizza Master, and in this game you're trying to prove that by taking some different ingredients and cooking some different pizzas and winning points by fulfilling your menu pizzas or your menu cards. So during the game you're trying to make different pizzas with different ingredients and scoring more points at the end of the game than the other players who are at the same time trying to prove that they are the best pizza chef. It's a really cool theme and I really liked it when I saw the photos of the game. The board looked appealing to me. It looks cool. It's a game about pizza, which is really cool. It has this worker placement mechanic, and it also is a set collection as you're trying to collect different ingredients in order to make your pizza. So it's a really cool game. It caught my attention really. It looks like my kind of game. So I think I might give this a try. I'm really willing to play it. So that's my number 7, Pizza Master.
Number 6.
Number 6 is a legacy game in which you're trying to build this village in order to place your workers and do other things. So that really caught my attention, how these things combine, the city building with the worker placement, with the legacy aspect. It's also a competitive legacy, so that really caught my attention. This game is called Charterstone, and you might have heard of it because it got a lot of buzz. This game is just what I said. It's a legacy in which you're trying to build this village and you're adding some buildings to the city so your workers can go to different buildings and have more options each turn. It really caught my attention and I'm really willing to see how does that work and how does that combine, because boy, it sounds really interesting, and if it works good, I think it's going to be a pretty fine game. I don't know if I will be able to try it at Essen because being a legacy game makes that a little bit difficult, but I'm definitely wanting to take a look at that game because it looks really interesting to me. So that's my number 6, Charterstone.
Number 5.
My number 5 is a co-op in which you're basically playing Space Invaders on a table. It's called Flip Ships, and in this game it's a dexterity game in which you're cooperating in order to destroy the spaceships that are trying to attack you, and you're trying to destroy them before they hit you. So that really caught my attention. I don't really usually like co-op games, but this one caught my attention because being a co-op game, I think that combines really well with being a dexterity game. It also has some variable player powers, so that's something that really caught my attention. I'm willing to try it because it looks like it's a really fun game and that you're trying to destroy the spaceships, and I don't know, when I look at it, it just felt that it might bring a lot of fun and a lot of laughter. So I think that it's a cool game, and that's the reason it caught my attention. I just looked at it and said, boy, this game looks fun, so I want to play it. So that's my number 5, Flip Ships.
Number 4.
My number 4 is an exploration game called Elos, and in this game you're trying to explore the islands of Elos in order to gather some resources and become the most rich player of the game, because at the end of the game you want to be the richest player of the game. How are you going to do that? Well, you're going to play different cards in order to explore the islands of Elos. That is based on a modular board that you're going to build up while you discover these islands and you explore these islands, and you're trying to settle in those islands to build fortifications, to gather resources, because you want to be the player with the most resources and with the most expensive resources. So it's a cool game. It has this commodity speculation aspect. It has that take that aspect also with some cards that you're allowed to play in order to make it more difficult for the other players. It has this gathering resources, this exploration aspect. It's a really cool game. I think the mechanics called a lot my attention, and the art and the design, the artistic design looks really cool to me. The modular board really looks really stunning. So that's the reason it's my number 4. I'm really looking forward to try this game and to see if it's as good as it looks, because boy, it looks really good. So that's my number 4, Elos.
Number 3.
My number 3 is called The Secrets. Secrets is a game designed by Bruno Feduti and Eric Lang, a really cool combo there. And it's a social deduction party game in which you have two teams. You have the KGB and you have the CIA, but you have also a third team that it's the hippies. So basically what you're doing in this game, you have your personal secret role. So you can be CIA, hippies, or KGB. And you're trying to get to know which players are from the CIA, which players are from the KGB. And you're trying to be the team that has the most points at the end of the game. The hippies will win if they're the person with the smallest score at the end of the game. So that's something interesting there. And it is what is really interesting to me is that that you're going to be changing roles during the game. So there's cards that allow you to change your role with other players, and you're also having this mechanic in which you're offering a card to other player, and if he takes it, he has to use it. But if he refuses, you can use it. But those cards are not always really good. So you have this back and forth thing in the game, because maybe the other player is offering you something that you know is bad, or maybe you get to know that the other player is from your team, so you offer him good things. But maybe they change your role, and you were from the CIA and now you're from the KGB. And you are from the other team, so now maybe the other player doesn't know if he should trust you. It's a really cool social deduction game, a little bit different to what I have seen. So that's something I'm really looking forward to try, because it's a kind of different social deduction game. And the art is also amazing. You have this like pop 80s kind of style, which looks really, really cool. So that's my number 3, Secrets.
Number 2.
Number 2 is a game called Otis. Otis is a post-apocalyptical game because it's based on a world that has been absolutely flooded. So your mission is to go under the water with your team of divers and recover some of the debris of the civilization that has been flooded, and you're trying to get some materials and some resources to build your future of this civilization. It looks really cool. The artwork is stunning. It really looks gorgeous. But the game also looks like it has some really cool mechanics. You have these divers that have different abilities, and they're located in your colony, and you have like this structure underwater. So you're trying to put your divers in the different depths of this structure to match their ability better with the level of depth from that structure. So it really looks kind of cool. You have different missions that the colony sends you to do. So it has a really cool aspect into that. I think that this organizing your divers and each diver having a different ability and trying to recover some resources, it's really when you look at the board, it looks really cool how the grid works. It's really just cool, and it looks like a fun game with a lot of strategy and a little bit of thinking there, but that's really cool and that works for me. So that's it. I just think it's a really nice game with some mechanics that might work well with the special abilities from the divers. I don't know, it's a game that really caught my attention, and the art is just phenomenal. It's just really, really gorgeous. So that's the reason it's my number 2. A really nice looking game with a really nice looking mechanics. My number 2, Otis.
And finally, number 1.
My number 1, the game I'm most excited about in Essen Spiel, is called Nuria. Nuria is a game that I really don't know a lot about this game, which is kind of ironic because it's my number 1. But it really caught my attention because of this one mechanic called wheel building mechanic. So we know like deck building, right? And we know bag building, but this game brings a whole new thing that is a wheel building. We know some games that have a wheel mechanic in which you have like a circular board that, depending on where you place some things, you might get some things or some resources or some actions. But this game, each player has a wheel that they're building in order to do their different actions that are located in that wheel. So it definitely caught my attention because this is something really new. It's a steampunk game, like kind of based on The theme is like kind of some isles floating in the air, and you have this like steampunk airplanes or spaceships that are moving between those pieces of floating soil. I don't really know what the game is about. I have only seen some of the mechanics, and I have only seen the board, which looks really nice, and it's precious because it has this steampunk kind of art that I really enjoy. But what caught my attention was this wheel building mechanic. So I don't really know a lot of things about this game, but that definitely caught my attention, and boy, it's something I haven't seen in any other game. So that's the reason I'm looking forward to look at this game, because it really caught my attention, this wheel building mechanic. So that's my number one. It's called Nuria. Just before I leave, I wanted to say that this selection of games is made out of my impressions and what I have seen on the sites like Board Game Geek or the companies that produce these games, but I haven't actually played these games. So I can't say if this is going to be a good or a bad game. It's just my impression and what I personally feel that this game is going to be like. But I haven't played them, so just before someone comes and say, "Hey mister, you said that this game was good and it isn't," well, first of all, that's personal. It depends on what you like and what you don't like. And second, it's just a selection of games that I think that are going to be good. But absolutely, maybe they're terrible games, or maybe they're broken, or maybe they're not that well designed, or they have this brilliant mechanic, but it's not a good game. So just that piece of advice, just to clarify what this video is. And that's it. So thank you for watching, and I hope it's been useful for you, especially if you're going to be at the Essen Spiel fair. I will also be there. I will be at the Dice Tower booth also, so we'll be more than thankful if you come and say hello and shake hands. So thank you for watching. Hope it's been useful, and see you till next time. I'm Santi.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.